Hello, this is Linda Vettrus-Nicols, and I have an amazing woman to introduce you to, Dr. Ulwyn. Welcome, Dr. Ulwyn.
Linda, it's such a pleasure to be here, and I really appreciate your invite to have this chat with you.
You're so welcome. Okay, so you were born free. I just want to break out in song with the movie with the lions from Africa. So you were born free. What does that mean to you?
I am not the only one who is born free. As human beings, we are all born free. But no one taught us what that means.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught to get a job.
Mm.
We were taught to come first in tests. We were taught to win this gold medal and to do all of that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But what is even huger that we ignored is that we are free. We have freedom of choice. We have free will. We were given, as I said before, we were given all that we need. And we have the freedom of choice to tap into it and unleash it or not to.
Right.
And when you don't know better, you don't do better.
Right.
And my commitment, because for the years that I've worked, more than 25 years around the world with leaders, C-suite executives, ambassadors, etc., and high influencers, is amazing how their lives have changed when they own their freedom.
Right. Yeah.
When they begin to see the power that's within them.
Mm.
When they begin to see, and I call it magic. And I call it magic because as I saw my father changing people's lives and I thought it was magic. Mm-hmm. And I like the word magic because we are magical human beings. Mm-hmm. We were born with everything we need, so we have the magic in us to do whatever we want.
Right. And when I hear the word free, it flips me to like slavery, and it's like, well, if you're in slavery, you're not free. And then I just saw a documentary on Harriet Tubman, and you know that was happening at the time where some slaves were freed, and she wanted her freedom, and she wasn't being given it. However, her husband was free, and yet he still had the slavery mindset. And he said if she's going to try to, get to freedom, he would turn her in. So that's interesting to me. Even though we're free, we can still have a slavery mindset. Now you're from Trinidad, so you didn't, grow up with all of that.
No, I did. It's a worldwide thing, but I don't see freedom that way.
Right.
I see freedom because if you have freedom and other person could impose on it, mm-hmm. could prevent it from happening, could stop you in your tracks, that's not freedom. That's why freedom is internal freedom, is innate freedom.
Exactly. And she had that sense of innate freedom, and her husband didn't, which was super interesting to watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to give you a little experience I had when I went to South Africa. Yeah. I went to Robben Island where Mandela was in prison. Mm. And one of the prisoners who were there in prison with him was giving us a tour. And what he said people thought we were not free. Mm. But the freedom that we had, our innate freedom, no one could alight upon that. Mm-hmm. And what he said is that Mandela kept them always planning for the future. That's why they had a plan. And when it came to be physically free, and they felt that they were not physically free, when they were walking, they slowed their steps down. And therefore the guards had to slow their steps down. Mm. And therefore they recognized that they still had some control.
Ooh, very cool.
Isn't that moving?
Yeah, very. That's brilliant. I love it. So you have everything you need, even control.
Even control. I like to make a joke with my friends, and I said, look, if you're going to hell, then just walk with your air conditioner.
Oh,
You have control.
yeah, because your families will tell you, you know, you're gonna go to hell for that, and it's like, whatever, I'll take my air conditioner. Thank you very much.
Because it is very hot there, so therefore you have some level of control.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
There's plenty of hell on earth as well, so take an air conditioner while you're here.
But the air conditioner is just an example of anything that you need to
love it.
bring with you when you feel that you're in a situation
right.
that is so bad. You know, you begin to be proactive and you say, okay, this is my hell right now, or some other word. What proactive measures could I take so I am not destroyed?
I love it. I worked in a psychiatric day treatment center with little kids, like kindergarten through 5th grade. And I started to say, you know what? You might want to consider buying an ignorer. You know, I have some for sale. Would you like one? And they're like, yeah. And we'd like, I just put my hand out and they, you know, we'd exchange the money, right? And they would buy an ignorer from me. And it saved them like crazy because, you know, otherwise they were in trouble and they'd get, you know, hurt in the fights and stuff. And so it just took me right there. It's like, yeah, just use an ignorer.
Yeah, and that is wonderful because even this current situation with the epidemic. Yeah. You know, it's the epidemic's supposed to have control over us. We do not know what it is. But now I look and I say, but what I could control. Social distancing. When I go out there, dress properly. You know, so those are the various kinds of things. But not only that, now we are kind of trapped inside. So let's see how best we could live within that environment.
Right.
Let's dance. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
Let's call our friends who we didn't have time to call.
Right. And it's sad it's called social distancing, right? Because we're out and our heads are down and we're not talking to one another out on the street. You know, it's like, yes, it is time to do the inner work, you know, and so it's sad it's called social distancing, right?
Yeah. You know, now when I go to the grocery store and you see somebody, they look at you with a knowingness. Like they know you and you greet them. Hello.
Oh yeah, like we're in this together. Like we get, that's very helpful when people will look at you. It's the head down stuff. It's like, no, that wasn't part of social distancing.
And you know, the thing about it is that sometimes, and I'm not saying what is happening with us right now is a good thing, but sometimes we need to put in situations so we are forced to tap within us and recognize there's so much more to us.
Right.
Than what we have been living.
Yep. And for some people, they've been go, 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 go. This is their time to slow, 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 slow. And some people have been in slow, 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 slow and doing tons of inner work. And now they're finding it's their time to go, go, go. So it's different for all of us. And it's all about respecting where someone is. And Ulwyn always talks about the book and the chapter and what chapter you're in the book. Doesn't make you better, doesn't make you ahead of them. Just realize what chapter of the book they're in. And if they're not in your chapter, that's cool. You do you and let them do them. Does that make sense?
Definitely. Yeah. And what we are learning to appreciate is that perhaps success is becoming more meaningful to us.
Our own personal success.
Yeah, being alive is becoming more meaningful to us.
Yeah, right? That's quite successful.
You know?
Absolutely. I love it. Okay.
Because
so, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say live from the inside out. So, you know, how do you really see that live from the inside out? I mean, we've been alluding to it very much and recognizing that we are born in freedom. So would you like to say a little bit more about live?
Yes, I talked a little bit about it, living from the inside out. That is more of first getting to know who we are. We feel we know who we are, but we do not know all of who we are.
Right. And I find I learn a lot from myself when I'm around someone who triggers me, like no one can trigger me, right?
Yes.
But if I go into a trigger from somebody, there's tons of processing that goes on in my brain, sometimes for days, you know, just making sense of that, because that's what I do. And yeah, we grow a lot from what actually triggers us. It's interesting.
You know, we were taught, what were we taught? We were taught that money buys success.
Yeah, right. And it grows on trees.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't grow on trees, depending on your family.
Yes. And then we were taught that status and prestige and pomp and ceremony and all the rest of it defines who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And what many people recognize, what if you live with that paradigm? If you were to lose your job, then who are you?
Yes. Or, you know, in my first marriage, it was, well, if he ended up in a wheelchair, then like his life would be over and it would be completely gone. And, you know, so the physical is like just completely, you know, wouldn't be able to transition into being that person. You know, he'd rather be dead. It's like, I've reinvented myself a million times.
Yes.
So I don't get that.
You know, one of the things that I found working all these years is that I found many leaders and people who have achieved what society say you should achieve to make you powerful and special. And there was this kind of emptiness. There was this question that they would tend to ask themselves, is that there must be more to life than this.
Right.
And that's how I came up with meaningful success. And my philosophy is meaningful success is your only option.
Ooh.
And the reason for that is when it is meaningful,
right.
You're not only living the life you want to live professionally, but you're living it personally without friction. That is success, at least from my perspective. Because when you are in that space, what you find, the quality of what you do, the fulfillment you get from what you do, feeds you, motivates you, alights you, make the light that's within you shine brighter. Because you know you're not only living your best life, but you're leaving a legacy.
Right.
So that you could be the example of the possibilities that exist.
Right.
And that has happened. You know, I can remember a client that I met, that I worked with. When I met him, he says, I have everything. You know, I don't need anything. I do not know why they sent you. And I said, well, let's think about it. Right. Perhaps they sent me because they might have seen something additional that could happen. Why not? Let's see what happens. And what he recognized, how much potential that he had, that he was sitting on. I like to talk about it as sitting on your assets.
Yeah, right? I love it.
You know, and the kind of work that, in working with him, the kind of work that he's doing now, it is so much more fulfilling. And what he told me, he says, you know, I'm not only a better leader, I am a better father. I'm a better spouse. I'm a better friend.
Nice. I love it.
And what was so interesting, he was very cagey about taking any kinds of risks. And what for me, I found very hilarious when I met him again recently. He says, I'm scuba diving around the world. Could you imagine that? He says, look what I could have missed. And that's why I do the work.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ulwyn. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
And likewise, it's always a pleasure. We always come up with some other deep thinking or idea, and I enjoy it.
Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.